Well, Tesla is starting off the morning with a strong up move in an otherwise tepid to down market. Now, while it seems entirely possible that there's news that I haven't seen, it's pretty unlikely. The idea that Tesla could become a $25 trillion company might be what we're seeing here because that news, those headlines have been showing up all weekend and are continuing to show up this morning. So, that could be something that's going on. Let's face it, it's something worth considering. This might be combined with the fact that people think that Elon Musk is going to be more active now that he's come back and that, he's been out dealing with his other companies more. And now he's going to be back at Tesla, really punching it up and making sure that things happen. I don't buy that storyline, but it's okay with me if people believe it. And if it's true, hey, I'm not inside Elon's head. What do I know? Now, Alex and CERN have both stated that the $25 trillion valuation for Optimus is an understatement. And Elon has since posted that their analysis is correct, that it is an understatement, because that took into consideration having a cost of goods of 10,000, selling them for 20,000, and Elon has since acknowledged that they would be rented, at least in the first few years, not sold. I think they'll be rented until they're getting anywhere somewhere close to hitting a place where people won't buy every single one that's made with future orders for, like months and months and months in advance, which I think will take many, many years to happen, even if multiple companies are able to ramp up quickly. Well, Randy, me, and Warren Redlick have been saying this for a very long time, maybe a year or longer, that we thought that this was all true. But now the street can't ignore it. Even Gary Black seems to like that Elon has now stated a cost and a sell and given some kind of an idea what the numbers could look like. And I liked that too. I liked that Elon had given us that kind of certainty. But it makes it more real. And now you just multiply the $10,000 per unit by some number of units that you think are possible. So let's just use the car numbers for Tesla rather than the bot numbers for Tesla. Let's say 20 million units in 2030. Again, this is going to be so much faster to ramp up than an automobile. We're not even talking apples and apples. It's a completely different game. As somebody pointed out the other day, every single part in an Optimus can be lifted easily by a human, much less by a bot. So you're not talking about things that have to be moved around on big, with big old machines and no, you don't got any of that. You don't have moldings that have to be done by giant molding pieces of equipment. You don't have tires, and I mean, you get the point. So let's just say 20 million units in 2030 for Optimus at 10,000 profit each. We won't even use the 10,000 or 20 or 30,000 a year or 40,000 a year profit from rents. We'll say, no, you buy them for 10. You land them for 10 on your factory floor for 10 and you sell them for 20. We're not going to take into consideration, you want to make it 23 so that we can take into consideration overhead and stuff. Anyway, that would be a $200 billion profit, or about double what Apple's profit is right now. At those levels, it wouldn't be hard to imagine that the increases per year would still be at around 30% a year, maybe even higher. So we'll use a 30 times PE for that. And that would bring you to a $20 trillion valuation. So you don't have to have 100 billion sold, 100 billion sold a year if your multiple is higher. And then you add in the 7 trillion valuation that Elon and everybody's agreeing, Kathy Wood and others are all saying will happen with the robotaxi or RoboCab or whatever we're calling it now. And then you add another 3 trillion, let's just say, for everything else, cars and insurance or whatever else is happening at that time. Now you're still at 30 trillion for the company. Just for fun, let's cut that in half and make it 15 trillion. So I don't know, cut it again in half. You're still at 7.5 trillion. You're still double the magnificent three right now, Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA. So any way you want to slice it, it's a big deal. Anyway, these are the kinds of things that might be on investors' minds right now, and they're trying to think this through. They've just seen this big run up in NVIDIA. We've seen Tesla run up before. We've just seen a massive run up in 3 days for Apple. And so I think maybe the market's beginning to say, hey, these things are still possible in the world, even among these massive companies. So maybe there was something else, but here's some other stories. Maybe these are the reasons. I don't think so, but they're worth talking about. So this is according to Pablo. Man, he's got the craziest name ever on X. He is Pablo 9948967714. Yeah, okay. Tesla gets Shanghai approval to test advanced driver assistance. I also saw this reported by Bloomberg. Tesla Inc. has been granted approval to test its advanced driver assistance system on some Shanghai streets, according to a person familiar with the matter. The next step is rolling out the feature to Chinese drivers. Tesla has been granted approval to test its advanced driver assistant on, well, okay. I'm sorry, I doubled that. Warren Redlick, speaking of Warren, I haven't quoted Warren for a while, but he says the Biden administration continues its weaponization of federal agencies to go after Donald Trump. No, I'm sorry. They've weaponizing federal agencies to go after Elon Musk. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, it's kind of similar. So they've again asked the court to bar him from serving as an officer or director of a public company, exposing him to the possibility of removal from Tesla. I did a little research on this. I'm not sure they've asked for that yet, but they may. They're certainly asking Elon to come back and testify yet again. The SEC wants him to come back and testify about the whole Twitter thing. They've sued him previously, and I think they're disappointed with the outcome of that settlement and how he has responded to it. They're putting in extra work to see if they can get a stronger case here to harm Elon Musk. So when you're thinking about how you're going to vote in the fall, maybe you'd want to vote for the elimination of the deep state that's going after our furious leader. Fearless. Did I say furious? Anyway, this is another story this morning. Elon Musk says that they are rolling out in the next 6 months a new mini dish. It will be half the price of the standard dish to buy, and it will have, of course, a monthly subscription, which he didn't state how much that would be. He says you can still watch multiple 4K video streams simultaneously on the mini dish. It will have a 23 mega ms latency. What's that mega? I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments below. MS latency. Mega flops, I thought it was. Anyway, there you go. So this is Randy Kirk, by the way, in case you haven't figured that out. Please hit like, subscribe, and notify. The subscribe is the one I'm pushing right now. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Notify, guess who's back tonight? Larry Goldberg is back with us on Good News Monday, and I'm sure that he's probably even driven his what do you call it? His truck. Cybertruck. I'm sure that was one of the first things he did when he got home yesterday, just to run it around a little bit. Anyway, here we go. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen this yet, you've seen this before. I talked about it all last year, and you guys bought thousands and thousands and thousands of these at around $25 each. Now you can buy thousands more, but now you can put whatever you want on it. Any color. You can 4-color process, multiple colors, any way you want to do it, your logo, your team name, whatever it is that you want to put on there, and you only have to buy 6. And if you buy 6, they're around $30 plus a $30 setup charge. But if you buy 12 or more, it's the $25 price again and no setup charge. How can you beat that deal? All right, let me know. Just send me an email or look down at the information below and send your money to PayPal. All right. Market Watch this morning has this coming from the New York Fed's Empire State Business Conditions Index. This is a gauge of manufacturing activity in the state of New York. I think it's actually in the region of New York. That might be I could be wrong, but I think it's in the region. So their manufacturing activity rose 9.6 points in June, but that increase still remained in contractionary territory with a -6 reading for I forget how many months in a row. Economists expected only a small improvement to a -10.5, but they got a better improvement to a -6, but still a negative. Any reading below 0 indicates deteriorating conditions, 7th straight month of negative conditions. Key details, the new order index climbed by 15.5 points, but it's still a -1. But it's the highest reading in 9 months. So I guess that would be good news. That could be improving the market maybe this morning, except it's still negative. Shipments rose 4.5 to 3.3 in the month. So that is actually above 0, the highest reading in 7 months. Unfilled orders rose 9.1 to 1 positive in June. And supply availability, a new indicator they've just added, inched up to -1 in the month. The price indices moderated a bit in June, and the employment indicators were both weaker. So employment was weaker. Prices, they didn't say what it was, though. The price indices moderated a bit in June. I wish they'd said what. Firms were more optimistic about the future than they have been in 2 years. Well, there's some good news. The index for future business conditions climbed by 16 points to 30.1, but that sounds to me like it's still way below 50. Big picture, the Empire State Index has been fluctuating in slightly negative territory over the past year and a half, according to Michael Ferroli, chief U.S. economist for JPMorgan Chase. Other manufacturing data looks somewhat better, he added. The national ISM factory index slipped to 48.7 in May, second straight month of contraction, raising fresh doubts about the outlook for U.S. manufacturing. As I pointed out last night, if you didn't see that video, go back and take a look. I'll put the card up in a minute. Yeah, the overall U.S. manufacturing situation seems cloudy, like very hard to see how things are going. Richard Moody, chief economist at Regions Financial Corp, said he expects continued growth in manufacturing, but for it to be halted and uneven. All right, where are the markets now this morning? Let's take a look here. We have got Tesla up 3.33, continuing to be up and kind of moving up from, it started up just a little bit, and then it was up 2, and now it's up 3.33. As I mentioned, the market is also uneven, weird. The Dow is down 97, the NASDAQ is up 10, S&P down 156. So kind of all over the place. Apple up another $3.32. The rest of the Mag 7, well, you got Google down, Amazon down, Meta down 5.61. You got Microsoft up a teeny tiny bit, and NVIDIA down 3 cents, which would mean Apple's probably back in the lead again as the most valuable company. That's going to be all switching back and forth almost on a day-to-day basis, maybe, as these numbers change. By the way, things did just change a little bit. So you got, yeah. But anyway, roughly speaking, that's what's happening. Let's look at the percentages. You've got the Dow Jones down 0.28, NASDAQ up 0.07, S&P down 0.02, and the Cathie Woods all down 1%, 1%. Here's one that's down 13% this morning. TDOC down 2.45. In 𝐓𝐞𝐬𝐤 Corporation down 5.30. So the Cathie Woods are strongly down this morning. What do you think causes that? By now you should have that. You should know exactly what's causing that. So let's go over and see if you're right. Whoops, what up? That was not good. Here we go. Let's see if you're right. Oh yeah, you're right. The bonds, yeah, they're up 7.8 this morning, 7.8 basis points. The 2-year is also up 6.1 basis points, and the 2-month is up only 0.2 of a basis point. You know what all that means is that the inversion is widening out again. So after it has been contracting, now it is widening out again. The 10-year versus the 2-year, which is the one most people pay the most attention to, is now, yeah, it's almost at 50 basis points, getting very close to 50 basis points. And the 2-month, which fewer people, but some people pay attention to, that one is over 100 basis points again, after being down to 75. And the 2-year was down to around 35, and now it's very close to 50. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening with oil. Last time I looked, it was moving up. It continues to move up another 71 cents. Brent up 59. So now you got Texas Intermediate almost back up to 80 at 79.16. Brent at 83.21. Almost $4 difference. So that's kind of in the middle. I like to see it at 3 so in other words, when it's over $3 difference, I usually figure something's going on in the Mideast. And the only thing that's going on in the Mideast that I saw this morning was that Netanyahu has what do you call it? Shut down his war council because 2 more members quit. So I guess he's got to form a new war council. But that's the only thing I saw. So well, I guess the some activity Lebanon, you know, looking like a war with Lebanon is more possible. So that could be causing things. But anyway, $4 difference usually is kind of not neutral, but only slightly troubling in terms of the Mideast. Natural gas this morning down 3.47, sitting at 2.783. So that is a little bit more backing off on natural gas. I'm kind of surprised by the amount it's backing off, but what it tells me is people are opening the spigots. You've got gold. Oh, by the way, last night I promised you to give you some idea of why bonds are up this strongly. So the yields are up this strongly. And the only answer I have for that is that people are now recognizing that there's not going to be any cuts from the feds. It's November, December is the earliest, and that's what I've been saying all along. But I continue to believe probably none. I'm starting to get a feeling as if they're going to, for psychological reasons, they're going to want to cut in December and start the process, but that could all change based on the data, of course. Gold down 1460 to 2334, right in the middle of its range. Silver at 2940, toward the upper end of its range, but down a little bit this morning. And copper down 1.81 at $4.41. That has been slipping. It was up over 5 for a while. Kind of surprised to see copper with this big sell-off. The dollar staying strong this morning as the euro is continuing to drop. And the Bitcoin down, wow, down 1142 this morning to 65,374, near the bottom end of its recent range. And there you go. That's what everything is doing this morning. Let me just go back and see if Apple has continued its move. So yeah, up $3.68 now. It's looking good this morning, Tesla. Again, not 100% sure why, but one reason could be the beginning of people beginning to get it about Optimus. Okay, so if you didn't see my week valuation, as I analyze what would happen this week with the various reports that are coming out, that is right up there. I'll put it right there. And then later on today, we have got Brian White, of course, at the middle of the day, and then Larry Goldberg back with us this evening. So with all of that said, it's been great talking to you.